Hi everyone, this time I will discuss fundamentals of C++ programming. This lesson includes basic knowledge of programming languages, including its evolution, how it processes in computers, and some techniques on how to solve programming problems. Evolution of programming languages. As we have learned before, machine language is the most basic language of computers. Even though computers have different operations, but it only speaks of one language, which is the binary codes. Let us take for example, if we will be creating a program that will calculate the weekly wages given the hours and hourly rate. In human language, we can actually compute wages by multiplying rates to hours or rates times hours. Since computers communicate differently through machine language, wages is equal to rates times hours is equivalent to this machine language. So the machine language of wages is equal to rates times hour is 100,100, 010001, 100,110, 010010, 100,010, 010001. Now, if you are a programmer, it will be very difficult for you to familiarize these binary codes just to create program. So here comes assembly language. Assembly language allows programmer to use easy to remember instructions. We call that one mnemonic. So the weekly wages is equal to rates times hours will be translated into this assembly language. So load rate, mult hours, then store wages. So first, load the rate, then it will be multiplied to hours, then the result or the product will be stored to wages. But computers do not understand this assembly language. That is why there is a need of a translator. We call that one assembler. Assembler translates the assembly language instructions into machine language. In assembly language, the programmer needs to familiarize codes which is still somehow same with the machine language. Thus, high-level language was invented. It made programming easy to devise and it is much closer to our natural language. It is more comprehensive and understandable for programmers. Basic, Fortran, COBOL, C, C++, C#, Java, and Python are some of the high-level languages. But in this subject, we will be learning C++. Now to solve for the weekly wage, it is very easy by just doing the statement wages is equal to rates times hours. But still, computers do not understand this high-level language. So there is still a need of translator that will translate high-level language into machine language. We call this one compiler. Now, how do computers process C++ programs? Let us consider this C++ program. Hash include iostream using namespace std int main cout my first C++ program return 0. The output of this program will be this, my first C++ program. I usually tell my students for them not to be confused. This will be their programmer's view and this will be their console or the user's view. So now let us discuss what had happened during the processing of that program. You use a text editor to create a C++ program following the rules or syntax of the high-level language. This program is called the source code or source program. The program must be saved in a text file that has the extension .cpp. For example, if you save the preceding program into the file name first CPP program, then its complete name is first CPP program.cpp. But don't you worry guys, because since we are using IDE, after saving our file, it will automatically produce its file extension .cpp. For computers or laptops, you have installed Dev C++, and for Android phone or mobile phones, you will be using CPP Droid. So take note that a source program is a program written in a high-level language. Next, the C++ program given in the preceding section contains the statement hash include iostream. In a C++ program, statements that begin with a symbol hash are called preprocessor directives. These statements are processed by a program called preprocessor. So what is the purpose of these preprocessor directives? Preprocessor directives are part of the compiler which performs preliminary operations to your code before the compiler sees it. Then, after processing preprocessor directives, the next step is to verify that a program obeys the rules of the programming language. So that means it will look into the syntax of the program. So it will check if the program is correct using the syntax of the language. The compiler checks the source code program for syntax errors, and if no error is found, it translates the program into the equivalent machine language. The equivalent machine language program is called an object program, the machine language version of the high-level language program. We call that one object program. Object program is, for example, if the high language program is already compiled, it has the machine language version. So we call that one object program. Next, the programs that you write in a high-level language are developed using an integrated development environment or IDE. So in our case, we will be using Dev C++ for laptop or computers and CPP Droid for mobile phones. Once the program is developed and successfully compiled, you must still bring the code for the resources used from the IDE into your program to produce a final program that the computer can execute. This pre-written code program resides in a place called the library. So after you have compiled the program, it will still need pre-written codes which is found in the library. So i-check niya if yung code ba na ginamit mo during the program is nasa library. So how will they check? They will use a linker. So a linker is a program that combines the object program with other programs in the library and is used to create the executable code. So linker is a program that combines the object program with other programs in the library and is used to create the executable code. This executable code is actually the code na pwede nang i-execute ang ating main memory. You must next load the executable program into main memory for execution. A program called loader accomplishes this task. So a loader is a program that loads an executable program into main memory. So siya yung naglo-load ng program sa main memory para i-execute na ang program. And lastly, the final step is to execute the program. So this is the block diagram of how a C++ program is being processed in a computer. Now, how do we do programming? We actually do programming through problem analysis, coding, and execution cycle. Programming is actually a process of problem solving. It is because through our programs, we can provide solutions to the problems within our society that may of course involve technology. This is actually the usual problem-solving technique. So first is you analyze the problem, then you outline the requirements of the problem, then you will be designing steps. We call that one algorithm to solve the problem. So algorithm is a step-by-step problem-solving process in which a solution is arrived at in a finite amount of time. So there are 3 steps in problem-solving process in programming. First is you analyze and outline the problem in its solution requirements and design an algorithm to solve the problem. Next, implement the algorithm in a programming language such as C++ and verify that algorithm works. And lastly, maintain the program by using and modifying it if the problem domain changes. The first and the most important step in solving a programming problem is by analyzing the problem. How do we analyze problem? First is thoroughly understand the problem. When you say thoroughly understand the problem, you should comprehend and understand the problem. By understanding the problem, you can visualize the flow of the solution of the problem. Second, understand the problem requirements. Requirements can include whether the program requires interaction with the user, whether it manipulates data, whether it produces output, and what the output looks like. So you should determine the requirements of the problem. What do you mean by requirements? It means you should know if the problem needs input data or output data. If there is, what is the type or format of that data? So you should know how to manipulate those data later on in your programming. Lastly, if the problem is complex, divide the problem into sub-problems and repeat steps 1 and 2. This goes with divide and conquer. It means if the scope of the problem is wide, you can always divide it into sections. Solve each sections and later on converge the results to produce the output. So this is how you analyze a problem. It is really very important to know this one because later on you will be equipped with skills and knowledge about C++ programming. You may know a lot of codes and instructions, but those will be useless if you have wrong analysis on solving the problem. So that's very important, problem analysis. Now let us proceed on some examples on how to create algorithm by solving simple problems. So example number 1, you will be asked to create a program that calculates the perimeter and area of a rectangle. So what is your analysis on this? So you will be, of course, asking how do we get the perimeter of a rectangle? And also, how do we solve for the area of a rectangle? Through research, you will know that perimeter is actually equal to 2 times the length plus width of the rectangle. And the area is equal to the length times width of the rectangle. So we should take note that we have two variables needed to solve for perimeter and area. We have the length and the width. Now to create the algorithm, so first is we get the length of the rectangle, then we get the width of the rectangle, then we will be finding the perimeter of the rectangle using the equation perimeter is equal to 2 times length plus width, and lastly find the area using the equation area is equal to length times width. So example number 2, create a program that calculates age of a specific person. So in your analysis, how would you compute for age? So basically, you can have this analysis. The age is equal to the year to day minus the birth year. So your algorithm will be, of course, get the birth year of that person, then calculate the age using this formula. Age is equal to year to day minus birth year. So that's it. Thank you for watching Padayon Engineering.